Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's your boy Pigskin Pete. How's everybody doing? Happy Friday to everybody. Tomorrow we got the Army-Navy game. We got the Heisman Trophy ceremony. Thank you all for joining me on this fine Friday evening. As you can see, this is a later than normal video that I do as far as the call-in show goes. But if you want to call in, because this video is always driven by the callers. 864-207-4522 if you want to call in. Listen, if you're one of these, if you're one of my children, if you're one of Clemson's children, and you want to call in, because listen, you've been yapping your gums all week on YouTube, telling me how you're going to call in and set me straight. Here's your chance to set me straight. Call me and set me straight if you're a Buckeye fan. But all kidding aside, if you guys want to call in and talk about any of these bowl games, I did my top 5 most interesting bowl games video earlier today. I released that, and I had the Air Force versus Washington State game was number 5 on that list. Iowa State and Notre Dame, number 4. Virginia and Florida, number 3. Alabama and Michigan, number 2. And Minnesota and Auburn, number 1. You guys want to call and talk about any of those games or any game that maybe your team's playing in, make sure you call the number 864-207-4522. Let me see who's in the chat real quick. Prince 6'1", my man in the house. Clemson Carson. Miranda Dansby, my favorite damsel in distress. Clemson Carson. College football maniac, my favorite Gamecock on planet Earth. Tiger Nate. Jordan Bowman. See, he says, wow, starting off the chat wild. Complete Control. How you doing, sir? And Halo, all my people in the house. All right, let me see real quick. Which one of these games are you guys looking forward to the most? But actually, before I get to the calls, I'll see if anybody's on there. If somebody's on there, I'll answer it. But and while I'm waiting, the Army-Navy game that happens every year. I was debating on whether or not I'm going to stream that game or not. I don't know. It's going to depend on what's happening over here tomorrow. But for all you guys who are new here this year, who weren't at the Army-Navy game the past 2 years that I've been on YouTube, I tell the same story every year. I'm going to tell it again. A lot of you guys weren't here last year. My father is a graduate of the United States Naval Academy in 1965. Here's a little trivia question for all you guys out there. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to give a prize to anybody. You know, I'm not going to send you anything, but I'll shout you out if you get the riddle correct. So my father graduated in 1965 from the Naval Academy. What very, very famous athlete, even I dare say a Hall of Fame athlete, was my father's classmate at the Naval Academy, class of 1965? Anybody who could put that in the chat, I'll shout you out. Looks like I got a couple of calls here. I'm going to go with the one that came in first. The 631 number. Just hold on one second. I'll get to you next. Good afternoon. You're on with Pete.
Hey, Pete, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, man? Who am I speaking with?
Yeah, my name is Caleb. I'm an Ohio State Buckeye fan.
Awesome.
I just wanted to call in, man, and give mad props to Clemson. I genuinely do respect you. I'm not one of those crybaby soft Buckeye fans.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I was talking to one of my buddies about Travis Etienne, and, I mean, him being a stubborn idiot. He basically thinks that Etienne is overrated, and the only reason he's had more success than a lot of other backs is because of Clemson's offensive line play. Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, it's pretty idiotic, but...
Yeah, see, here's the thing, man. I think when you're evaluating these top running backs in the country, and I think the top 3, and you could put maybe top 4. All right, you've got Jonathan Taylor's obviously an elite back. He's got NFL written all over him, right? J.K. Dobbins, same thing. J.K. Dobbins, same thing. Elite back, very tough runner. He can do it. He's everything that the NFL is looking for. Travis Etienne, same difference. Chuba Hubbard. Or Chubba Hubbard, how the hell you pronounce his name? Oklahoma State. These are all NFL backs, first-round talent. You know, will there be four running backs taken in the first round? Probably not. We'll see what order they go in. But the other day, and listen, I'm not a stat guy. I'm really not. Like, I don't live and die by stats. I mean, I think there is something to be said for stats, but also you have to just, you have to watch these guys. And look, Pro Football Focus yesterday released that the number one back in the country, as far as they're concerned, and this is just one publication, is Travis Etienne. Now, we'll see what happens in the draft, right? We'll see which one goes first, but I think you're going to see these guys all go pretty close together. I don't know if it's going to be or Etienne first. I tend to think that either Jonathan Taylor or Etienne are both going to go ahead of Dobbins. And that's not saying Dobbins isn't a great back. I just think when it comes to translating to the NFL, that's what we're going to see. But, yeah, I mean, listen, Dobbins is a great back, man. No doubt about it.
Yeah. One thing I want to see, I'm eager to see is, I feel like really for Ohio State, a key part of the game is that pass rush in the defense. Because, I mean, Trevor being Trevor, if you let him sit back in the pocket, he's going to kill you. So, I mean, they need to I'm interested in how the Clemson offensive line, I've been watching tape on them, and they've been looking pretty good. I'm interested on how our D-line and your O-line will match up.
That's the matchup of the game. By far, and that's what I said when I was on Mark Rogers' show the other day, is that's the matches I'm looking for. You've got two elite running backs. You've got two elite quarterbacks. You've got NFL wide receivers on both sides. You've got NFL defensive backs on both sides. I mean, these two teams are just so loaded with NFL talent. It's not even funny. But the matchup to watch is the strength of Ohio State's team, in my opinion. They have a great offense, don't get me wrong. But in my opinion, the strength of the Ohio State team is the defensive line led by Chase Young with the pass rush.
Absolutely.
And so if Clemson, this is the conundrum. If they can find a way, and I'm not saying that they will find a way, I'm saying that this is what they're trying to do, is find a way to neutralize the pass rush, then that gives the Clemson the edge if they can do that. And I wholeheartedly believe still, despite the fact that 90% of the commenters, at least on my channel, tell me that Clemson's offensive line is not as good as Ohio State's offensive line, I beg to differ. This is a senior-laden
to be honest, you have a better O-line than us this year.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And Ohio State has the better defensive line. So you're right. That's the matchup to watch, but for a lot of reasons. Not only for, not just with Chase Young, but how can the defensive line in the middle, can they neutralize the pass, the run up the middle? Because with that, Etienne likes to run up the middle a lot. If they can stop Etienne and force Trevor to have to, evade the pass rush in the same time. Listen, if Etienne's getting big chunks of yards, then Chase Young's not going to be that much of a factor in the grand scheme of things, because he's going to be playing the run too. So this is the problem when people face teams like Clemson or Ohio State. They have to defend both the pass and the run. It becomes a nightmare. And the only reason I give Clemson the edge overall in this game is because I feel like Brent Venables is going to confuse a young quarterback. Justin Fields is great, but he's still young. He's never been in a playoff game.
That's what I was telling my buddies.
Yeah, he's still young, and he's going to see things in this game that he's never seen before. That's all there is to it.
Exactly.
Now Trevor Lawrence, he may see some things he's never seen before, but I don't know if he has compared to Fields. He's played in multiple playoff games, and he's seen this stuff before, and he's performed well. So that's the reason I give Clemson the edge, even though I think the talent is pretty much a wash. I give Clemson an edge on a couple of positions. I give Ohio State an edge on a couple of positions. At the end of the day, the experience is what I'm counting on. But it's football. You have two elite teams. Any outcome would not surprise me. But I'm actually pretty confident in the Tigers pulling this out.
To be honest with you, like the main three things that concern me as a Buckeye fan is one, obviously, Jonathan Taylor, to be honest, he exposed the gaps up the middle. He was just punching it up the middle for big chunks against us. Yeah. That's the main thing I fear is Etienne doing the same. And to be honest, the second is, I watch film a lot against Tua last year. Like you said, Brent Venables is really good at disguising coverages and making cover 2 look like 3, making 3 look like 4. So the main thing is, Fields reads it. It's cover 2, I'll attack the middle, and then all of a sudden it's cover 3, and the safety sitting right there on the post route. Yeah. Something like that's kind of concerning.
Yeah, and listen, Venables, he loves to bring the pressure. He loves exotic blitzes. He'll make it look like the pressure's coming from the left side, and he'll bring it from the right side. It's a lot for a young quarterback to handle. It just is. I don't care how talented he is. Listen, Tua, and I know that this is not last year, and all people want to say, "Oh, this isn't last year," and Tua is not Justin Fields. I get all that. I'm not a complete and total tard. What I'm telling you is he made Tua look pedestrian last year. Because Tua was not.
To be honest, he did.
Yeah, and and that's not because Tua is not a great player. It's because Tua was not ready for what he was going to see. Now, if Tua played him now, after seeing that for an entire game and studying that film for the entire offseason, probably, I would imagine he did. It might be a different outcome, but guess what? Justin Fields he's in a unique position this year that he just hasn't seen before. That's all.
Yeah, and another thing that concerns me, to be honest, is Ohio State. I feel like we have an elite secondary, but we haven't seen a receiver core. I mean, that Higgins and Ross, they have me stressing, to be honest with you, as a Buckeye fan. I don't know how we're going to deal with them.
Yeah, I mean, those are two guys that are built for the NFL. You got very tall range of receivers that can make every catch. They're good route runners. They're tough. And they do bail Trevor Lawrence out a little bit. I mean, but people hold that against Trevor Lawrence and say he's only great because he has great receivers. But I don't buy into it. I don't buy into that at all. I watch this guy make NFL throws that there's very, very few people in college football that can make, period. And it's hard. You're right. It's hard to defend because they can do the 50-50 jump ball. He can put it in places where it doesn't look like most receivers would catch it, and they'll still catch it. So, yeah, it's going to be a handful. And like you said, it's going to come down to the trenches, I think.
In all honesty, Pete, I was watching some of your videos on Ohio State. I live in Columbus, Ohio, by the way. I'm in high school, so I mean, Buckeye fans are some of the softest people. I'm not even gonna lie, man.
Yeah, well,
like,
I mean, every fan,
they are like crybabies.
Every fan base has these. Ohio State has such a large fan base that you're going to get more of that than you would from other places, I guess. I don't know.
Like, they're the type of fans to where, like, okay, your team will play a game, right? And then, like, they'll be good the whole year. And then when your team loses, they love to rub it and shove it in your face. But when Ohio State loses and you get on them for it, they kind of complain about it. Like, you hear me? Like, you get what I'm trying to say?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
they literally will they'll rub your own losses in your face. But then when you get on them for their miscues, they start crying and whining, and they're like emotionally sensitive 2-year-olds.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get that. I do the same thing. I look for any angle I can get to piss somebody off. That's just part of what I do. But some fan bases are definitely more sensitive than others. And Ohio State seems to be pretty sensitive. They say Clemson's sensitive. Maybe they are, but I'm not Clemson. I'm just myself. I'm definitely not sensitive. But, hey, listen, I got another call, so I'm going to go let you go and see what they got to say. But I appreciate you calling in, brother. All right. Hey, good afternoon. You're on with Pete.
Hello?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on? Speaking of good D and long yards and whatnot, I was wondering what your take would be on the XFL acquiring Jason Giambi and Jonathan Taylor-Thomas.
Well, I saw something about that, but I don't really have any thoughts on it. Yeah.
Well, in all reality,
yeah.
JTT is a receiver. I wish he would receive on me.
Is that what you wanted? You wanted him to receive you a lot?
Oh, all 5 fingers. I want him to expose the gap.
Right. Tell us more about that.
In between the cheeks. I want him to grab one cheek with the left and the other cheek with the right. And I want to see Jonathan Taylor-Thomas call me Tim the Toolman Taylor. Now,
go ahead.
It's just me, Peete, and ATP, the MVP.
You're still on. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah. Hello. I'm here.
Still on.
As much as
I want to get off.
I know. I can
Get me off?
Can I get you off? No.
Don't lie. Keep it straight.
Well, I don't know. You seem to be getting off. You seem to be getting off by watching Pigskin and Peete every day already. I don't know if I can.
In all honesty,
I can't help
D.D.
you out any more than
Gregorius
that.
to the Phillies. D.D. Gregorius to the Phillies, and you're going to take Joe Girardi and have him on there too? You're basically having the Yankees year 2017 in 2020 in the upcoming year. I can't believe this. But home improvement. Boy, that out.
Hey, sir, let me ask you a question. You still there? Of course he's not there. He hung up. He's soft. I was about to ask this clown if he knew that he was calling a college football channel. This is not a Major League Baseball jerk-off channel.
No, jerk-off. You're mad about the baseball questions and not the Jonathan Taylor Thompson fucking expose I just gave you?
No, I don't care about that. That's just gibberish.
All right. Well, show us your butthole, Pete. What's your baseball? All right, I'm done.
Yeah, you're done, all right. Fucking jerk off. Good afternoon, you're on Pete. Or not. This person hung up too. Yeah. What's up? Coulter Gask is in the house. Jay Jobs is in the house. Luke Godwin. How you doing, brother? Good to see you here. I'm sure if you're here, you're amazing and fantastic, but I already know that you are. Slash Dirty. Slash Dirty brings up a good point. He doesn't remember Clemson losing to Purdue 49-20. What's up, Matthew? What's some of these names? What's up, Sand7? Matthew, I don't even know how the hell to pronounce your last name because obviously I'm a hillbilly inbred hick. They didn't teach me how to read Chinese. John Bowman, how you doing, sir? Tiger Nate. Good afternoon. You're on with Pete.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, Pigskin Pete?
Yeah.
Hi, I don't know if there's a delay. How you doing?
Oh, I'm great. How you doing?
I'm great. I've been loving your videos.
I'm sure you have. What you got for me today? Can't wait to hear this one.
Oh, no. I was just wondering what, I'm not from South Carolina, but I'm a huge Clemson fan. Like, I have fallen in love with Dabo Swinney and everything about this program. I'm actually from New York, surprisingly. You got a lot of New York fans out here, Clemson people, just letting you know. But I was wondering what your thoughts were on the award show last night, and if you saw anything about it, if you really, gave it much credence about the fact that Isaiah Simmons was literally only representation from that school, and if it was purposeful. It just seems like it's just a big popularity contest more than it's awarding best players in football. If I feel like, because every response that I saw to why more Clemson players weren't invited was, well, who did they play? And they didn't play anybody. But, I didn't know that those awards were about, your schedule. I thought it was who's the best player in college football. So it's just odd to me. It was just very odd. I mean, I think the team has been handling all the bias and the disrespect so well. It's incredible to me. But I was just like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, man. Crazy, though.
Ooh, the comments. Damn. So you don't want fans. Okay, I'm a bandwagon.
Are you reading the comments on the live chat right now?
I am. It's so strange to me. I don't understand why people would be upset to get more fans from around the country. It's just weird.
Yeah, I don't know. What are they saying? I'm honestly not looking.
I don't know.
I'm looking at my phone.
Oh, they're calling me bandwagon. They're telling me that fuck off, they're full. That's funny. I'm a troll. Okay. Wow.
So where in New York do you live?
I'm from the Bronx originally, but I live in Brooklyn, and started watching college football. Huh?
I was gonna say, so what drew you to college football?
Well, I mean, I started watching football about like 6 years ago. I really got into it, and then what really drew me to college football? I can't really totally answer that for you. I just got engrossed in it, like fully engrossed, and I guess it was right after the national championship last year where it really got engrossed. And you can call me a bandwagon if you want, but I mean, I don't know. I just Dabo Swinney is just an incredible person, and I don't know. He's touched my life in a way, I guess. That may sound weird, but he's an inspirational person. The players are inspirational. The way they promote their culture and their program. It's just really, it's really cool to see. Yeah. But I'm a go, because clearly I'm just a bandwagon and and not welcome. So it's cool though.
No, you're always welcome here. As far as I'm concerned, this is my channel. I make the rules here. You're always welcome. Anytime you want to call and talk about whatever, it's fine with me.
All right. Well, good luck. Go Tigers, and best of luck. And it's gonna be a great game. See ya.
All right. Good afternoon. You're on with Pete.
What's up, Pete?
What's up? Who am I speaking with?
College football maniac.
All right. What's up, man?
So,
how you doing?
I'm bummed, man. I'm very bummed.
Well,
very bummed.
You're bummed 365 days a year. You're a Gamecock fan. Come on, man.
I know. It's a bummer.
So what?
I mean, the only time I wasn't bummed when we were.
Look, man, you should be a lot less bummed than you were 2 weeks ago, because 2 weeks ago your season ended, and now you move into the best part of being a Gamecock fan, and that's the off season. So the off season is the most optimistic and joyful time in a Gamecock's life, is it not?
Hey, don't forget about jumping onto the next SEC team that's up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
LSU.
Yes. So who are you rooting
for?
But
I already knew our season was over whenever October 26th came around. We got stomped by Tennessee.
Your season was over before it started. And if the people that were smart in Columbia, South Carolina, in the front office there, were listening to Pigskin Pete pleading and telling them not to give this Jamoke an extension and a raise after winning 9 games one time, you would not be in this position. But they don't listen. Listen, you know what? Look, I'm glad you called, man. Get me on a South Carolina rant. I'm not taking this out on you. You know I love you. But
yeah, you good.
So all these playoff teams right now, you look at all 4 playoff coaches. What you got? You got Lincoln Riley, promoted from within when Bob Stoops left. You got Ed Orgeron, promoted from within, won the job over after Les Miles got fired. You got Dabo Swinney, promoted from within whenever dumbass got fired. And who's the 4th one?
Yeah.
Ohio State, Ryan Day, promoted from within whenever Urban Meyer got a fake headache. What do they all have in common? What do they all have in common? All 4 of those guys that it's named. They all suck, but what else? I'll tell you what else they have in common. They weren't some big-name, washed-up coach who lost at another program or who were just collecting a paycheck and playing golf in Myrtle Beach in their retirement age, like Lou Holtz and like Steve Spurrier. They are young guys on the staff that they groomed to have that job, and they're taking him to the college football playoffs now. I've been telling South Carolina this for years, and they're not listening. Stop going after washed-up coaches who have losing records at other places, or they aren't already collecting Social Security checks.
Yeah.
Do what what all four of these teams did, or go get a good FCS coach or a good Group of Five coach, Cincinnati coach, Memphis coach, like Florida State just did. Anyway, you catch my drift. Maybe finally they'll start listening to me. Otherwise, they're going to go bankrupt. Probably already are bankrupt, actually.
But I think Muschamp might have made a decent hire with the offensive coordinator.
Ooh, Bobo?
Yeah, Bobo. I mean, he likes to run a lot. We don't have a run game, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how Bobo works out there. I don't know, man. We'll see. I think it's a good hire, though.
Yeah.
I know Georgia wanted them pretty badly. So you guys got that, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. I mean, Will Muschamp.
I'm hoping we can get Birch.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to.
What is it, between LSU and South Carolina at this point?
Well, Dabo
and
was at his
Clemson.
house, supposedly.
Yeah. I heard
here recently.
I heard South Carolina or LSU, but I don't know. Listen, I don't know. So.
Well, I think his commitment date is on the 19th of this month.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out then. But yeah. Anyway, listen, man, I got a couple.
But I got LSU and I got LSU and Clemson in the Natty. That's my guess. Hope.
Well, I hope you're right. That'd be a great game.
Yeah, that'd be a good game.
Yeah, man.
All right, I'll let you head on.
All right, man. I appreciate the call, brother.
No problem.
All right. The 405 number, I'm going to pick up. The 336 number, just wait for a second. I'll get to you in a second. Good afternoon. You're on with Pete.
Hey, Pete. It's Coulter, and as you know, I'm a pretty big OU fan. So I want to...
He hasn't started yet.
Yeah, yes. I want to bring up one point that I've been saying, and many people have pointed out that Oklahoma's games are way too close, which, yes, they have been, but I don't think it's a problem with our offense, more so than it is a problem with us turning the ball over, because if you look at it, Texas, 1-possession loss, we had 2 turnovers. Iowa State, 1-point loss, we had turnovers. Baylor, we win by a field goal. We had like 3 turnovers in that game. The one game against a good opponent, which we haven't had turnovers, was Bedlam, and look what we did, 18-point win. So, do you think it's possible that if Oklahoma is able to not turn the ball over against LSU, that they could shock a lot of people and make the national championship?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I think Oklahoma's got a shot. I think it's a less than 30% shot. But, yeah, listen, here's the thing. Which LSU defense is going to show up? Because we know Oklahoma can put up points. We know Oklahoma's defense is average, right? I don't know. What is their total defense this year? Do you know that stat? Is it like 30 or 40? What is it? You know,
I think it's about 26 when I last saw.
That's not bad.
But I'm not for sure on that.
Yeah, I don't know about
20.
20.
Also, we were playing cupcakes. Our non-conference schedule was cupcakes. So.
Yeah, but still. Listen, you guys were like last in pass defense. You were last in like 4 categories out of 130 teams.
Yeah, I'll admit. Last year, the only reason we even made it to the playoff was because Kyler Murray was a beast, because the only bright spot in our defense last year was Kenneth Murray, and now that Alex Grinch has come in and actually, made everybody really good, look what our defense do. We held some pretty good offenses to under 30 points, Texas being one of them, and I think they have a really underestimated offense. Oklahoma State, and Chuba Hubbard even, we held to only 103 yards, and we even stripped him at one point, but they fell on it.
Yeah. Here's the problem I see for Oklahoma, because I see that if Oklahoma has a great day on offense and executes at a high level, they can score with LSU. Because we know LSU, LSU has proven this year to at least have the most explosive offense. Now, you can debate all kinds of different ways you want about who they played and this and that position and whatever you want to do. Bottom line is LSU has just completely lit up the scoreboard in every single football game they played this year. And so I think that LSU can score, obviously, with Oklahoma. If Oklahoma does great, they can score with them. The difference is I think that even though LSU's defense has some issues, I still think it's a little bit better than Oklahoma's is. But again, we'll see what LSU defense shows up, because if they play lackluster like they did against Vanderbilt, if they play lackluster like they did against Auburn, like they did against Texas, then they could be exposed by Oklahoma. So there's a chance that this could be closer than people think it is.
Yeah, definitely. Not to mention the fact that Jalen Hurts, if you let him run, like, he can do some real damage, and I think that's one of the more underrated characteristics of him, even though everybody's talking about it. But I'd argue that Kenny Brooks and Ramondre Stevenson are some of the most underrated backs in the league. So if LSU can't stop our rush game, then that could really make things interesting, because, like Gary Patterson said, we are a run-first team, even though everyone's been talking about Jalen's ability to throw the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see, man. I don't know, man. LSU's a hard team to figure out. I know they're great on offense. I don't trust their defense. Oklahoma, I know who they are. They're a bend but don't break type of defense. They can cause some turnovers from time to time. Can they do that against Joe Burrow and LSU? I don't know. So this is a hard game to figure out. If I were to bet on this game, I wouldn't bet on it. If that makes any sense. If I were thinking about betting on this game, I wouldn't bet on it, because it's very hard to figure out.
All right. Well, I'll let you go. So from one five-time in a row conference champion to another, may the best team win the playoffs. See ya.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the call. All right. The 336 number I'm going to pick up, and the 541 number I'll get to you in just a second. Good afternoon. You're on with Pete.
Hey, Pete. How are you?
How's it going, man? Who am I speaking with?
It's Dakota. Clemson fan calling in.
Awesome, man. What can I do for you?
Like I say, I was just going to call in about the Clemson-Ohio State matchup. The matchup that everybody's talking about. The thing about it is that Clemson has looked dominant all season, and I fully believe that we can win this game. It's not a matter of that. I don't think so. But Ohio State is the one team that has, concerned me all this season, because they are playing at such a level that, I said from the start that they are a team that can match Clemson's level. They've got J.K. Dobbins, Chase Young, Justin Fields. I mean, they have got a talented core of players. And they wanted this matchup because of what Clemson did to them in the Fiesta Bowl, 3 years ago, 31-0.
Right.
So they want this matchup, and I still believe that Clemson can win, but I'm not one of these people that's going to go in there and just say we're going to go stomp them, because it's just not going to happen. I mean, Ohio State very well could win this game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I said I think this is going to be a close game, man. I really do. I think it'll be about a touchdown either way, quite honestly, and that's all respect due to how talented Ohio State is and just how good they are. I mean, they have completely destroyed everybody they played. They've had a couple of bad halves. They had a bad half against Penn State, right? They had a bad half against Wisconsin. But at the end of the day, the scores don't reflect that. And when it came down to the come down, they put their foot on the throat and choked their opponent out. Clemson does have one close loss or one close win. And that, that might be like a Freudian slip, be saying a close loss, because it's being treated like a loss. The North Carolina game is. So I agree with you.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, though, again, I still revert back to my thinking that this team is obviously not the same team it was in the first half of the season as far as Clemson's concerned. And that these players and these coaches have been there and done this. This is nothing new for them. This is business as usual, whereas this is something new for most of the players and coaches on Ohio State's team right now.
Right. Well, the last thing I'll say here is, trust me, I've been having to hear, how Clemson doesn't play nobody. Clemson has a weak schedule, and I've, my friends have brought up that North Carolina game more times than I can count. It's made me really, really mad. But the fact is that, I want to say that's definitely motivation for Clemson, and no doubt it should be, but it just, it seems like one of those things where they were kind of like, they were definitely coasting in the first half of the season, and I think that North Carolina game was up. But like I say, it's just a matter of, because a lot of people drawing parallels to, that Florida State team, that the first year of the playoff where they went through the ACC,
that's a bad
and then they ran
comparison.
into Oregon. And and like I say, I fully believe we can win it. I'm not saying we don't have a chance, but just I feel I don't want Dabo to go in or that team to go in the mindset of, we're Clemson, we won the last 2 out of 3, that we have a sense of accomplishment, because then you settle, and the last thing you want is settling. You want this team to believe that they're still the underdog.
Yeah, I think they're past that now because they've been here so long. It's hard to repeat. I mean, anybody will tell you it's hard to repeat back to back. It's just, there's a reason it's rarely ever done in modern college football. But I feel like that this team, they feel like that, especially the defense, more than the offense, because the offense is basically the same offense it was last year, except for maybe Hunter Renfro's gone, right? But the defense has a new identity, and I think these guys are tired of hearing, and they were tired of hearing all in the offseason about how all these players went to the NFL. They were all first-round draft picks. Clemson's defense is going to fall off, and all they've done collectively as a defense is go out there and be better than they've ever been. There's never been a statistically better team under Brent Venables or Dabo Swinney on defense than this year's team, period. It's not even close, really. And they're number one in total defense. They're number one in pass efficiency. I have it written down here somewhere. I'll probably have to find it. But this defense is just better than it's been ever, that I've ever seen it. Even last year's team was not as good as this one is. And so that's the reason I feel confident and the experience mainly.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I say, I fully believe in the defense. Isaiah Simmons is a beast, and, Brent Venables, pay that man every cent you possibly can, because the dude has just been shutting everyone down the last 5 years. So, I fully believe we can do it, but just we don't want to get complacent. That's the last thing we want to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're past that because of the experience. I don't think they've dealt with complacency before. Obviously, they showed up and laid an egg in the playoffs a couple of years ago against Alabama in the first round, and that was a little bit of complacency, and the players admitted it. And so I think that they've learned from that. This team is they're special, and even if they don't win the whole thing, because I'm not guaranteeing that they will. I'm not crazy, but even if they don't win the whole thing, this was a special Clemson team this year. Special.
Oh, I agree 100%. So, but anyways, Pete, I'll get off here with you, my man. But we'll definitely Clemson Nation's behind these boys, and December 28th we'll be ready for the Buckeyes. So, right. Go Tigers!
Yeah, go Tigers! Hey, before you go, any Buckeye fan that you come in contact with between now and December 28th, make sure you let them know to respect and honor their daddy.
Oh, I will. I definitely will.
All right, man. Thank you for the call.
All right. See you, Pete.
Bye. Good afternoon. You're on with Pete.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, I'm a Ohio State fan.
Awesome.
I think this game's going to be really close. And I'll be honest with you, I'm surprised. Oh, my name's Jeff. I'm sorry.
All right.
And I'll be honest with you, I personally didn't think our season would go the way it is, considering we had to replace the head coach. And to be honest with you, and with having a new quarterback and all that, I did not think it would go this way. So.
Hey, let me tell you something. I'm glad you brought this up, because this is something that's gone unnoticed and really untalked about, especially even by me, because I've been so caught up in just, the trash talking and the game coming up, that before the season started, I actually thought that Ohio State was going to have a rebuild year or a struggle year because of the new quarterback coming in, because of the first-year head coach, because of the way that Urban Meyer left, which, ended up in hindsight being pretty seamless, right? He named Ryan Day the head coach. Ryan Day comes in there and looks like he never skipped a beat, if not even better than what they were the past maybe 2 or 3 years under Urban Meyer, right? That really goes unnoticed, is how Ohio State, not only did most people think they were going to take maybe a half of a step back for a year or two, They came out and dominated college football for an entire regular season. Dominated. That is. Listen, I don't care what happens with Ohio State for the rest of the year. If they lose to Clemson, or they beat Clemson, or if they win the national championship, or if they lose to whoever they play in the national championship, if they beat Clemson, it's been an amazing, well above what most people expected year for Ohio State, no doubt.
Yeah, I totally agree, because I'll be honest with you, I did not see it coming. I was really surprised. I'm like, wow, we're going to be 13-0 and be in the national title game.
Yeah.
And or close or competing for it. And it just surprised me a lot.
Yeah.
And another thing,
Go ahead.
I know there's these Buckeye fans that whine on here and all that stuff. I respect Clemson. They're still the champions. They're 28-0. They deserve to be where they are. I don't care what their schedule is. They beat them all, so it doesn't matter. It's stupid.
Yeah. Well, that's all fun. I actually like it because it gives me content and stuff to laugh at. But yeah, I don't know. Man.
Yeah, I understand what you're doing. It's pretty funny actually, but
yeah. Yeah, listen, I got another call, man. So I'm gonna let you go because I'm trying to wrap this up, and I want to make sure I get all these calls in. But I appreciate the call. Keep watching, and I appreciate the support, man.
All right, thank you.
All right, man. All right, this is from the 541 area code. Good afternoon, you're on with Pete.
Hey, what's going on, Pete?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good. Buckeye fan here. So Ohio State is 9-0 against Oregon, and we're like 8-20 against our rival in the 21st century. I feel like those are real dominations and making someone your daddy. So is the whole Clemson's Ohio State daddy, is that just trash talk, or do you really think that that's a huge stretch of domination?
I mean, let me ask you a question. When I say, listen, let me tell you something about myself. I'm a 39-year-old man who has been married for 12 years and has 2 small children. And I live in the suburbs of Charleston, South Carolina. When I go on a video on YouTube and I start calling people that I don't even know across the country who root for a different football team than me and tell them that I am their daddy, do you think that I'm serious about that, or do you think I'm just trash talking?
No. I was just making the point that I don't really think 3-0, especially since our first game. I know you're just talking shit, and you're being sarcastic or whatever, but I think that 3-0, especially since our first game in 1978 when Woody Hayes had that little incident where he punched a player in the face. I don't really think that's a huge stretch of domination, but yeah, you just answered my question right there.
Yeah, listen, I mean,
but
it's not a huge stretch of domination. Everybody knows that Ohio State is one of the premier, programs. Storied programs.
Yeah.
I don't think any Clemson fans out there trying to say we're more storied than Ohio State is, but when you're in the words of Dabo Swinney, when you're little old Clemson and we're just meandering along, winning national championships, and then big old Ohio State comes along and we have 3 wins in history over you, what other thing are we going to say? I mean, what do you expect us to say?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I will mention though that Alabama was 3-0 against us in the playoffs in 2014 when we knocked them off. So I don't know if you want to bring some superstition in, but I guess just I'll ask you one question. What do you think Clemson's biggest, advantage is in this game on offense or defense, and what do you think Ohio State's is?
That's a good question. I think that I'll say like I've been saying, I think that the Clemson's biggest advantage is experience, period. From the coaching and player perspective.
Yeah.
In these games, and people, they get really mad at me and they say that there's no experience. These players are experienced too, and we're experienced beating better teams and all that. No, all that stuff. Listen, there's the regular season, and then there's big boy football, which is the top 4 teams in the country. And Clemson has been there and done this. All these players have been here before. They've been saying they're going to lose. and dominated all these teams.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest difference I see. Again, as far as just X's and O's wise, like the first caller I had said, I think it's Ohio State's defensive line is definitely more dominant than Clemson's, and we'll see how that Clemson's offensive line can stand up against that. And then everything else is very, very, very close. So the game will be won in the trenches. Yeah. It will be, can Clemson mitigate the pass rush from Chase Young? That's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, yeah, you guys did have for you guys at least, you guys had an easy schedule in the ACC, but that's because you guys dominate the ACC, and you guys have already proved yourselves last year. So, yeah, I'm definitely not on that topic of conversation of that, you guys aren't battle tested, because you guys are plenty battle tested. You guys are the defending champs. But, yeah, man, anyways, thanks for talking to me. I like the show.
All right, man, I appreciate you calling in, brother. Thank you.
You have a good night.
All right, this will be my last call, and I can already tell just by looking at the description of this call that this might not end well. We'll see how this goes. Good afternoon, you're on with Pete.
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, it's McD Sports 4. How are you doing, Pigskin Pete?
Oh, well, damn, even the descriptions on your thing are angry. McD Sports 4, why are you so angry?
I absolutely hate Ohio State. Yeah, I hate Ohio State. I am pulling for Clemson this game. Ohio State, as far as I'm concerned, is a national disgrace. They are a bunch of cheaters. They sit there and smell, the Ohio State fans smell weird. I go through Columbus, stop at Home Depot, and see a bunch of needles in the parking lot. It is an absolutely disgusting area, and I hope Clemson beats them 100-0. I absolutely hate the Ohio State Buckeyes. I think all they do is cheat. They steal mail-in recruits because they sit there and pay the mail-in recruits money, even though they're already committed to mail-in. It's an absolute disgrace how they went in and stole Dwayne Haskins from mail-in after Mike Locksley left for Alabama. And I am absolutely hoping that Clemson beats the crap out of them.
I just want to be clear for everybody who's watching that doesn't know who you are. They're probably thinking you're a mumbling Clemson fan calling in. You're not a Clemson fan.
No, I am not.
Tell everybody who you're a fan of for all the new people here.
I'm a fan of the mail-in Terrapins. We play Ohio State every year. Last time they came to mail-in, Urban Meyer almost had to go to the ER because he was having medical issues, supposedly. So, unfortunately, Ryan Day, I think it's more healthier than Urban Meyer, but it's whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. What else about the Buckeyes really get under your skin?
Well, I just hate how they feel entitled. I mean, all you guys do is go to the playoffs and lose. You get blown out every year by somebody, except this year, probably because Urban Meyer isn't there. I mean, that sounds like an Urban Meyer thing. I mean, you get blown out by teams like Iowa. You let my Terps hang 52 on you. And I know my Terps on like one of these like elite teams or whatever. We went 3-9. But in the season, we hung 52 of them. We went 5-7. We should have won that game, honestly. The guy didn't drop the. If the guy didn't drop the 2-point conversion at the end, we would have beat them, which would have really made me happy for a very long time. Yeah. And I know like ACC fans aren't the biggest fans of mail-in because we left the ACC. I actually did not want to leave the ACC. I did not want to join the Big Ten with those disgusting programs like Michigan, Ohio State, especially Ohio State. I can't stand them. I'd rather get my ass kicked by Clemson every year than Ohio State, because at least Clemson, from what I can tell, the fans are more respectful than the Ohio State fans. Like, I'm telling you, if Ohio State loses to Clemson, you won't find a single Ohio State fan. You'll see them in the crack houses. So that's what they'll be, in the crack houses.
I was a little bit upset when Maryland left the ACC because that was a guaranteed win for Clemson every year.
I mean, I know where you're coming from, but and trust me, I didn't want to leave the ACC, but
I didn't want you to either.
But the money, it's all about the money, and unfortunately,
it's all about the money.
Unfortunately, Big Ten, which is a terrible conference as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
The Big Ten network. Like I thought the ACC network when it came out was going to be garbage. At least that's more watchable than the Big Ten network.
The ACC network is garbage, and I'm an ACC fan. I'll tell you that right now. Listen, look. First of all, at least there's something to watch about the ACC. But during football season, half of the shit they have on there is about basketball. I get it. The ACC dominates basketball. But at least wait till basketball season to make that 50 or 60% of your programming on there. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm a ACC homer, defender. I defend the ACC like nobody does on YouTube. I'm the only one. I'm a lone soldier out here dying and bleeding on the battlefield defending the ACC year in, year out. And what's the thanks I get in return? They finally have an ACC channel. During football season, all they do is talk about basketball. The ACC can suck it. And the network, too. I'm tired of defending them. I'm tired of dying on the battlefield for them.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. The ACC network's more watchable than the Big Ten network, in my opinion. Like, the Big Ten network's awful. Like, I hate when we get a game on the Big Ten network because I sit there and watch it, and at halftime, they're just very dumb. It really makes me cringe, makes me throw up in my mouth. Some of the people they throw in there in the Big Ten network. It's very disgusting. I mean, I just really hope you guys beat Ohio State. Like, I really hope. I think it's gonna be a good game. Even though every college football playoff game is a blowout usually, but I think it is gonna be a good game. Even though the last two times we saw a Big Ten team, they couldn't put up a single point. So maybe you guys shut them out. Hopefully that does happen. But even though I'm a Maryland fan, I am not a Big Ten fan. I think the Big Ten is a joke. I've been protesting saying we should get out of the Big Ten and return to the ACC. I mean, I'm telling you, Maryland would be great for the ACC. We beat Texas every time we faced them. So, and supposedly Texas is the cream of the crop in the Big 12. So,
all right. Well, thank you for the call, and good luck with the protesting too. I hope that works out for you.
Yeah, Clemson.
Just don't do like Antifa though. Don't beat up old ladies and break windows. That's not a good look when you protest. All right. Good afternoon. You're on Pete.
So what's going on?
Hey, what's up?
Full disclosure. I'm a first time caller of your show. I found you through Uncle Lou. I'm an Ohio State homer. I'm a Big Ten homer.
Awesome.
And once I found you through Uncle Lou, I did want to check your channel out.
What do you think so far? Are you impressed? Or are you very, very unimpressed?
So far I think you're pretty funny. I'll tell you what, I am impressed. When he's had you on your show a few times before I even found your channel, I was pretty impressed by your knowledge in terms of not just college football but NFL, all that stuff, because I follow all that stuff. But
awesome.
I did want to shoot a couple questions at you. So
sure.
What's your confidence level going into this, and how does that compare to 2016?
Well, that's a great question, man. Honestly, it is. My confidence level going into this game is much higher than it was in 2016, and that's not because I think that Clemson's better, now than they were then, or that Ohio State was, better then than they are now. It's actually the exact opposite of that. The reason is because in 2016 I was still, like most Clemson fans, a little bit reserved. We knew that we went to the national championship the year before that, but that was the first time we'd been there since 1980. So there wasn't a whole high confidence level in 2016. We knew that Ohio State had just won a national championship the year before that in 2014. So this year I feel like Clemson is in a totally different place than they were in 2016. They're much better as a program, much more confident. They even have more talent. People look at that Deshaun Watson team when he was there in both 2015 and 2016 and think just because Deshaun Watson was so great that the whole team is great. No, Deshaun Watson was that great that he made the rest of the team look great. Now, we had good defense then, but not compared to what we have now. We had good wide receivers and good running backs then, but not compared to what we have now. We had a good offensive line there, but not as good as what we have now. So top to bottom, Clemson is a much better team now than they were in 2016. Now, I understand that Ohio State also is way, way better than they were in 2016. But as far as my confidence level goes, I was not real confident in 2016. And maybe it's just a product of Clemson winning so much since then, that year and every year after that, that I'm more confident now. That's probably the reason.
Yeah, no, and before I get back to that, a word about Deshaun Watson. It's kind of funny because I noticed the same thing when he was at Clemson. I was once after his sophomore year at Clemson, I was begging my Browns to draft him.
Yeah, they screwed up big time
because I thought he was. Yeah, I thought he was the real deal, and I wanted him on the Browns bad. And of course, when we played him in 2016 and he killed us, that all but confirmed it. But yeah, I'm actually kind of similar to you, only in the exact opposite. I was way more confident in 2016. What's funny is after we won that title, I think I and a lot of us stopped getting nervous for games and a lot more confident. And once 2016 happened, that went away. And I think the title, caused me to ignore a lot of red flags with that team, just not being able to put the ball in the air, among other things. But I would say, my confidence level for this year isn't quite as high, but it's a 50-50 game to me. And back in 2016, I thought to myself, if we play well enough, we should be able to beat them. I was more worried about Bama, but this, in my opinion, these are the two best, most complete teams. I've been saying since midseason that Clemson was their biggest obstacle.
Yeah. If you've been if you've been watching me for the past 5 or 6 weeks, I've been saying the same thing about Ohio State. Same thing.
Yeah, I know. I'll have to watch some more of your videos, but I've only watched a couple so far, but it seems pretty interesting. And again, where was I? What was I thinking? Oh yeah, so all season it's been pretty interesting because this is a demon that I've long thought Ohio State has needed to exercise. Of course, when I was in middle school, we played y'all in the Orange Bowl, and Philly Brown muffed that punt, cost us the game.
Yes, I remember.
We would have had a chance at a 2-score lead.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the debacle in the desert.
It's
part
funny.
two.
It's funny you bring that Orange Bowl up because for me, I know people only realize who I am now on YouTube. You guys don't know me personally, but that play that you were just talking about when Clemson beat Urban Meyer and Ohio State in the Orange Bowl that year. That was where Clemson is Your Daddy was born. So that's the birthplace of Clemson is Your Daddy because I started telling – I have a lot of friends from Ohio State. I got – one of my best friends is an Ohio State alum who moved down here to where I live. And that was when that was born. I've been telling him that Clemson's his daddy, and believe me, he tells me that, how much Clemson's a nobody and we're new to the party and all that. It goes back and forth. But I've been telling him that Clemson is his daddy for years. So you guys aren't the first one to hear it. He's been hearing it for years.
Yeah, and as I've said before, this is I've wanted this game more than I've wanted any Ohio State game in a long time for that very reason. It is a demon we need to exercise. I know for a while we had the SEC demon, but that started to go away a little bit. Beating them in a couple big bowl games, most recently 2014 Sugar Bowl, of course.
Yeah.
Now it's almost like we choke every time we play Clemson. But overall, I think it'll be a game of there's so many good matchups in the game that it's hard to pick in terms of T. Higgins, on Jeff Okuda, Chase Young. You guys have a pretty good left tackle, Carmen.
Yeah.
It should be pretty interesting. Your guys probably have the best receivers we faced all year, and this is probably this might be our best secondary in the last few years, and that's saying a lot.
Here's the thing: is I'm getting into these position battles with Ohio State fans in the comment section. They say this is the best this you faced this year, and I say, well, this is the best that you faced this year. The bottom line is these are the two best teams either one of these teams has faced all year across the board. at every single position. For people, and not you haven't done this, but for people to come to me and try to convince me as a sane and rational human being that playing against Wisconsin's defense or Penn State's defense is anything like playing against Clemson's defense is completely and totally potato level 1 million. That's just the way I look at it. And
well, yeah, you're right. And those teams have great defenses, but I'll tell you what the difference is Brent Venables.
Right.
With all those, with all that pre-snap stuff and all the different fronts he shows and all that confusion, that's going to be the difference, especially with Fields as a first-year starter. He's going to be tested on his reads, that's for sure, pre-snap and post-snap.
Yeah, and the same goes for Clemson. We're not going to see – listen, I'm not delusional. I know the ACC was not great this year. But really, even when they were good, for the past 3 or 4 years prior to this year, maybe not last year either. They were pretty bad last year too. But maybe the 3 years before that was like the apex of the ACC as far as how good they were, with the most teams. But even then – they're not Ohio State's level, right? I mean, nobody outside of Florida State, pre-2016, anything outside of Florida State in the ACC is not on Ohio State's level. They're not on Alabama's level, right? They're not on LSU's level. So it's a totally different ballgame. The difference is that Clemson has played all these teams that I'm mentioning are better than every team in the ACC, and they haven't had a problem with them.
Yeah, I know. It didn't matter for y'all last year when the ACC wasn't good.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'll be watching for the lead up to the game, and good luck to you, sir.
All right, man. I appreciate the call, brother. Thank you. All right, this will definitely be the last call here. This guy's been holding for a few minutes. Good afternoon. You're on with Pete.
Hey, how's it going, Pete?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, so I'm a Ohio State fan, and I found you through Mark Rogers TV, and I like the back and forth you did with Mark about the game and all that. I thought you were really insightful, and you had a lot of good points. You made a lot of good points, but I've been watching your channel since that, and man, it's just
hey, how'd that
work? You're cracking me up.
How'd that work out for you? Watching that after that.
It's funny, but it's funny, but it's not funny because like you go off on these tangents, man, and it's just, I guess it's just your personality, but like you say some things that aren't accurate, and like on Mark Rogers, you were really accurate. Everything you said was like on point, but like since then you've kind of, I don't know, like what you were just talking about with the last guy. Like, I mean, Ohio State hasn't played a team or a defense nearly as talented as Clemson. But they've played teams and defenses that are talented. Clemson hasn't played any. I mean, they've played 3 top 50 defenses or 4 top 50 defenses all year. Or no, 4 top 70 defenses all year.
We're talking about Clemson's defense.
Played 9 top 50.
You realize that I don't know what it is now because it changes every week. But at the time we played Wake Forest, I think which was week 9 or so. So it was late in the year. Clemson had faced 3 top 20 offenses. Their defense had. You realize that Clemson's holding to people less than 11 points per game this entire season. Less than 300 yards.
I didn't realize that.
The only team that's even ran accumulated over 300 yards of offense the entire season was Virginia in the ACC championship game when they were playing against Clemson's third-string defense halfway through the third quarter. So.
You do realize that Clemson's only faced 3 top 50 offenses all year, though.
How many top 50 offenses did Clemson face last year?
Ohio State faced 5. Ohio State faced 5 top 40 offenses, and Ohio State has also held every team that they've faced below 300 yards. Most of them below 200 yards.
Listen, here's the thing.
They've won every game by 2 scores.
You got to understand where I'm coming from. I give Ohio State all the credit for what they've done with what's on their schedule. They've dominated everybody, and they look amazing. But everything that you're just now telling me is the same shit I've been hearing since 2015. We are now almost in 2020. So at what point does at what point does me not caring about people talking about how bad competition is that Clemson plays every year because the ACC sucks not start to matter anymore? Because it stopped mattering for me about 12 months ago.
Well, I mean, I can understand that because you guys straight put it on Alabama. But, I mean, if you really look at it, the only good team, like really good team that's on Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, and, you know, maybe Oklahoma's level that you guys have played has been Alabama last year in the last 2 years. I mean, Notre Dame was a shit show. They shouldn't have been in the playoffs last year. But, I mean, they were in. So, and you guys totally destroyed them, as I expected you to, as I'm sure you expected Clemson to. It's just funny to me that, you know, I mean, you break down like Travis Etienne and 9.1 yards per carry and blah, 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 blah. Against the top 4 defenses he's faced this year, he's averaging 4.1 yards per carry. He has 4 touchdowns in those games.
Sir, let me tell you something.
I mean, he's been pedestrian. He's been
pedestrian
against good defense.
1,500 yards
against good defense.
1,500
against
yards.
good defenses.
1,500 yards.
He has
100 less carries than Dobbins had this year, and Dobbins only has 300 more yards than him and 3 more touchdowns than him.
That's terrific. But do you realize that Dobbins has faced? Hold on. Let me speak. Dobbins has faced 9 top 50 defenses. 9 top 50 defenses. He's averaging 6.1 yards a tick in those games, and he has 15 touchdowns and over 1,400 yards against those defenses. He's been elite against the best defenses he's faced. Etienne has been pedestrian against the best defenses he's faced.
Etienne has never looked pedestrian in his
against the best
career.
defenses he's faced.
Let me tell you something.
You can't argue with his numbers against the top 70 defenses that he's played, which was going to 4.
I just got done telling you that I give all the respect to Ohio State for doing what they've done, for beating who's on their schedule. So this is the problem. You make the assumption.
I'm giving Etienne respect.
You make the let me talk now. You're calling my show. You make the assumption that if Clemson was playing against Wisconsin or Penn State or whoever, whatever other top 10 team that they played, that they wouldn't do the same shit that Ohio State's doing. You're making an assumption. Clemson has not lost a football game since 2017. Do you realize that it's going to be 2020 in a week and a half from now or 2 weeks from now? They haven't lost a football game since 2017. I sat there and watched the past 2 seasons Ohio State get blown off the field by shit teams. Shit teams blown off the field.
You know what? That's called Clemsoning. That's called Clemsoning.
No, it's Ohio Stating. It's Ohio Stating. Now that's what we're gonna call. We're gonna call it Buckeying. And we all know that Clemson is.
We can change it to Buckeying. Yeah, I agree with that. It's been Buckeying the last 2 seasons. But before we did it, it was definitely Clemsoning. Yeah. And you can't argue with that. Even under Dabo Swinney, you guys would be looking the elite and then blow a big one.
Oh yeah, man, Clemson,
or blow a one that you should have ran away with.
Yeah, you're right, man. Clemson they would go out and beat like a top 10 team, and they would be like preseason.
They would go out and smoke everybody, and then they lay an egg.
They'd be like preseason number 8, and they go out there and beat a top 10 team week 1, and they would be like, oh, this finally Clemson's gonna get another national championship, and then they go lose to Duke or some shit like that. So
We've taken that crown from you guys. That's the only crown we've taken from you guys.
Yeah. So believe me, I was there. It was painful, and that's why, you know what, man. That's why I'm so passionate. I've always been passionate, but
I get it.
But that's why I defend Clemson to the hilt, because I lived through all those shit years with Clemson, where me and most other Clemson fans, we felt like they were a sleeping giant. We knew they had the fan base, the stadium, everything in place, and we would even recruit great players, but we had shit coaches. Bowden was a complete dumpster fire. They praised this guy in Clemson for winning bowl games every year, going 7 and 8 wins a year, and say, "Oh, well, he won a bowl game." And I'm sitting around going, "Well, is that really the ceiling? Are we really carrying it?" This is what South Carolina's doing now. They start saying, "Oh, well, at least we won a bowl game, or at least we made a bowl." This is the same mentality Clemson had back in the 90s and early 2000s.
Something you just mentioned is coaching. Man, your guys' I don't understand how Dabo Swinney's been able to keep his coaching staff so continuity. Like the coaching continuity you guys have had over the last 5, 6, 7 years has been amazing. Like Ohio State's been going through defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators. I mean, they go out and get, Texas head coaching jobs and shit. And you guys keep those guys there, and they're good coaches, really good coaches. I mean, Brent Venables could go be a head coach at any college in the country. Yeah. And somehow Dabo Swinney keeps him on his staff. I don't get it.
I think it has a lot to do with...
I would like to feel that juju.
You know what? I think the real reason behind that, first of all, that's not going to last forever. We already saw Jeff Scott's going to South Florida. Tony Elliott, the other offensive coordinator, has already said that he's open to a head coaching job.
He's going to be taking a position somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. And Venables probably will eventually too. The difference is with Venables is he's got 2 sons that are playing for Clemson. He's got one that plays there now. He's got one that's committed, both on the defensive side of the football. Sweeney also has some young sons that are on the team and another one that's going to be on the team. So that's the reason I say over the next 4 or 5 years, I don't think you're going to see most likely, and I'm not going to say for sure, but most likely Sweeney and Venables will still be there. After that, who knows? But I'd say for the next 4 or 5 years, those guys are going to be there.
Yeah, I agree. I think you guys are rock solid, man. You guys are a great program, and I can't argue with the Clemson's your daddy thing because you guys have owned us, and
yes,
we got to get some act right on that. We got to put your teeth on the curb and stomp on the back of your head.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to happen. I think we'll win, but I think it's going to come down to who has the ball last. In all honesty,
yeah,
I think both of our defenses are going to show gaps that they haven't showed all year.
I mean, I think eventually I have to let you go because my computer's dying. But eventually, our son will grow up, and be big and strong, and maybe can beat his daddy up one day. We'll see if that's this year. I don't know.
We don't need to grow up. We already grown. We're just resorting back a little bit to the John Cooper days against you guys and the SEC when they used to own our asses too. Yeah. I don't know if I can cuss. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Believe me, I said way worse shit than that on here before. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we beat our chest to Bama fans, because we had that SEC monkey on our back for, decades, and then we got it off. And then, so I get it. You guys had monkeys on your backs, and now you're beating your chest. And we were a big boy on the block, and you guys knocked us down a couple pegs. So yeah. All's fair in love and trolling,
Yeah, man. All right, well, I'm going to have to go and end the show. I
So,
appreciate
good talking to you, man.
Yeah, you too, man. Call back next time, too. Thank you.
Sounds good. I'll definitely try.
All right, man. All right. So there's one guy left on the line here. I'm going to give you 2 minutes, man. Maybe a minute at most because my computer's dying, but I don't want to leave you hanging. So good afternoon. You're on with Pete.
Hey, what's going on, Pete? First time caller here, man.
Hey, what's up? What's your name?
Name's Tyrants5, sir.
All right.
And,
I've seen you in the comment section before. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great. Hey, I watch you a lot. I watch Uncle Lou a lot. So, hey, I found you on through Uncle Lou videos and stuff. So,
awesome.
But hey, I think you make great college football videos.
Thank you.
Hey, no problem, sir. No problem. And yeah, I know your computer, so I'll make this quick. Few opinions here on the Peach Bowl game. Since I'm a Sooner fan, just want to talk to you in your honest opinion and everything. How do you think Oklahoma can shock the world and defeat the LSU almighty Tigers?
Well,
how do you think Oklahoma can beat them?
You must have come in the stream late because I think the first caller I went well into depth about that game, the way I feel about it.
Yeah, I came in late. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Just go back and watch it. But I'll give you the condensed version before I get off here. I just think that basically they're going to have to keep up scoring with LSU. I mean, I don't think that's a hot take or some sort of expert opinion. They're just going to have to find a way to get a turnover or two and keep up scoring with LSU. That's all there is to it. And we'll see what LSU defense shows up. I know Oklahoma's good enough on offense to score. If they're hitting on all cylinders, they can keep up with LSU on defense. I just feel like LSU has a slightly better defense than Oklahoma does, and that might be the difference in the game. But again, with a couple of turnovers, it's anybody's game. Could be close.
Yeah, I agree completely. As a lot of times LSU's defense has been suspect at most because, I watched that Ole Miss game and everything. It's like, Jesus Christ, how could you give up that many yards to that kind of team? And to Texas, no, mind you, I forgot how many yards they gave up against them as well. But the LSU defense, they don't really scare me as much. I think Oklahoma, they're going to run the ball pretty well down their throats, kind of because, hey, we saw that in the Ole Miss game, but I don't know how prepared the LSU defense is. I mean, granted, they've been better throughout these weeks of the games and everything, but I think, Jesus Christ.
Dude,
sorry about that.
Are you all right?
No, I'm fine. stupid people. I'm sorry about that, sir.
Stupid people are making you sneeze?
you-
Sounds like you're sneezing. Are you sneezing?
No, no. No. I'm just trying to tell him to get out, and he, stupid brother. I'm sorry, sir.
No,
He's young.
Don't call me sir, please. Don't make me feel old, please. Call me Pete.
I'm sorry, Pete. Sorry, I was raised like that. But yeah, that's what I think really, and I think Oklahoma's gonna shock the world today, man. And I have full faith in my team because our defense finally in the top 25. I think they're ranked 24 now and everything. Kenneth Murray's a beast. Kennedy Brooks, Mondre Stevenson's a beast. Jalen Hurts, hopefully he doesn't turn the ball over a lot. And our defense plays lights out.
Yeah. Yeah, all those things need to happen. And you need a partridge in a pear tree. And you need to make sure you don't turn over that covered wagon. And don't wreck that thing. That probably will be a bad omen like it was.
Oh, yeah. Yes, of course. I don't know why it takes so long to build a new wagon, but hey, we don't have the technology. But hey, thanks for taking my call in, sir. I mean, hey, hope you have a great day and keep up the great work, man.
All right, man. I appreciate the call, brother. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, guys. That's it for tonight's show. I might not even make it another 10 seconds before my computer dies. Thanks to all that watched. Thank you for all the callers. Mad Max coming through with a $5 super chat on the way out. I'd stay 10 more minutes if Uncle Lou called in. Well, unfortunately for you and Uncle Lou, well, not unfortunately for Uncle Lou because he probably doesn't feel like calling in anyway. But unfortunately for you, I have to get off. But thank you for the super chat, sir. Thank you for all the commenters, the super chatters, the callers coming through. You know what? The Ohio State fans tonight, they came through in flying colors, didn't they? I only had one guy that called and talked about some sort of homosexual activity. So I guess I did better than I thought I would. A lot of Ohio State called in and told me how much they liked me, which is shocking in itself. I don't even like myself. These guys like me. So that's a win for me, I guess. I need to let my wife know that somebody likes me other than her. Anyway, that's a whole different story for another day. Listen, you guys are great. I will see you tomorrow. Hold on a second here. Tyron C5 with the $2 super chat. Keep up the great work, man. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Anyway, I'm deciding whether or not I'll be live tomorrow for the Army Navy game. I didn't even see in the chat. I'll have to go back and watch when this video uploads tomorrow. If anybody got my trivia question correct. Told you my father graduated from the Naval Academy in 1965. Papa Peete, as he will be referred to as you're concerned. Who was the very, very famous athlete, Hall of Famer athlete, who also graduated from the Naval Academy in 1965? I don't know if anybody got that right. We'll see. All right, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day. Pigskin Pete checking out.